Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly episode of The Cookbook, where Parcel and I have been cooking. I am your host, Dappz. Parsi led me into the darkness yesterday. I hammered the Ravens minus 12.5. It covered. It wasn't even close. In the middle of the Chiefs game, this man calls me and says, I just live bet the over 38.5. I said, wow, I love that. He said, then why don't you put in a slip? To which I responded with a 30-unit monster like a psychopath. Travis Kelce proceeds to drop a ball, intercepted, no points, and I still somehow almost hit. Bad beat of the night for me. I lost by 1.5. Parsi, do you have anything to say for yourself?
I want to apologize. That was really tough. Saturday I was watching college football and throwing a bunch of in-game lines and basically looking at low-scoring first halves, looking at the over, seeing there's a 10-15 point delta from the over-under at the start of the game and what the live spread was. And I just kept betting them and kept hitting them. So I'm like, this is a good strategy.
Hold on, what you're saying is that
out.
you hit multiple live bets on the day, and the one that I joined you on lost.
With those two teams too, how many times have teams like that? There's been several Super Bowls even, and that was last year's Super Bowl. They kind of sniff each other out the first half, lower scoring, and then they just start to turn it up and light up the scoreboard. And I thought that was going to happen. We were at 10-13 when we put that bet in. I thought, okay, Chiefs are driving, score a touchdown at 17-13, going to result in, Eagles will be able to move the ball should they choose to. And I thought we were going to be looking at, that game was going to go to 2020 and someone would win in overtime. I thought it was a slam. And that interception, Travis Kelce dropped the ball. It cost us both a lot, some more than others. But I feel bad. That was a tough break for us.
Well, luckily I put the house on the Falcons plus 3.5, and they mopped the floor with the Vikings. But we're going to move right along to Parsi lost his parlay, our weekly segment. I don't think there will ever be a week that we run this show where we don't run this segment. We're going to talk about I don't know why this says two-legger. Maybe this was two separate bets. You had Chase Brown anytime with the Jags 3.5. And then you also had Christian anytime touchdown, Detroit -6, and Baltimore -10. This was a $50 to win $870. Is that correct?
That does not. That must have been a 5-legger.
Yeah. This Fanatics cash is interesting here. Now, you did like all those plays. I know you were on the Jags hard. That was obviously a mistake.
That was a miss. Even with Burrow going down, I thought the Jags were going to keep it close. I felt like that was going to be a little trappy. It's interesting though, because we went through the traps last week. It looked like the Giants covered. Ravens and Lions were true. Those were two good winning teams. And I think you said you did well on both of those. McCaffrey did get in the end zone. Chase Brown did not score in this one, and the Jags didn't, they lost that spread by a half point. So 3 out of 5 on that one. Normally I'm 4 out of 5.
Super bad beat too for all Jags bettors, because I'm sure if you're a Jags bettor and you see Joe Burrow go down in the second quarter, you're thinking, oh, this is cashing. This is going to be
absolutely easy. And even with that bet, you'd think they would hand it off more, work Chase Brown, lean on him a little bit heavier. But Browning moved the ball well. He looked pretty good. I think he put up 2 touchdowns and like 200 yards in 2.5 quarters. So we'll see how that unfolds. Still a tough break though for people who have Burrow in fantasy.
Now, moving from last week to this week, or well, technically still this week, we have 2 Monday Night Football games tonight.
Yes.
Are there any plays that are really speaking to you? I mean, I know you like Nico Collins anytime touchdown.
I do.
At plus 235.
I think that's a little high. The play was Nico Collins and his over of his receiving yards. So I think he's going to score. I think he's going to have a really good game. He is a stud. It was a tough matchup last week against the Rams. I think they're going to be able to move the ball well against the Bucs. The Bucs have a really good run D, but their pass D is where they can be exposed. I think Penix Jr., had a solid game. I don't know exactly what his line was, but couple passing touchdowns, over 250 yards. And so I think Nico Collins is going to bounce back in a big way tonight. And I think this is an easy way to get paid 2.5 to 1. Nico Collins and his over of 70. Yes, exactly. 75.5.
So we're going over 75.5 yards plus an anytime touchdown is going to yield you plus 235 if you choose to take this line tonight. I actually like this play. I'm curious though, are you worried about CJ Stroud not looking good, the offensive line not looking good? We're facing a Bucs team that's pretty high scoring. So do you have any worries about this bet, or you think Nico really has a bounce back game and this is about to happen?
I think he has a bounce back game and this is about to happen. I do think Stroud's going to have to deal with some pressure, but Nico can hit this in one play and has multiple times. If he didn't get injured last year, I think he hit this on one play 2 to 3 times last year. And it does concern me a little bit. The offensive line isn't great, but I think they're going to have to pass to stay in the game. And he had a weak showing week 1. I think this is going to be an easy slam.
And then your next bet, Omarion Hampton, anytime touchdown. This feels very close to the chest, Parsi. I think you're really rooting for some of your fantasy players to get in the end zone, if you ask me.
You aren't wrong. He is on 3 of my fantasy teams. I do need a big game from him, or would love a big game from him, but I think he looked good last week. He got 15 carries against the Chiefs, moved the ball well, and there was a lot of talk about him ramping up over time, and Najee Harris is there. He almost blew one of his eyes out with fireworks on the 4th of July, but they really leaned on Hampton in the first game, and that's against the Chiefs D. The Chiefs have a great defense. I think that the Raiders have a worse defense, and he's going to get in the end zone. I think he's going to find his pay dirt tonight. I also was looking, I might throw 2 receptions in there and bump this up to like a plus 220 payout. I think they passed it to him twice last week. Last week, the Patriots played against the Raiders, and Trayvon Henderson had 6 catches. So the Chargers believe in Hampton. He's a stud. I believe in him, and he's going to get us paid tonight.
Yeah, well, Trayvon Henderson, I don't know if you know this, 5 points in my fantasy lineup. His handcuff, Ramondre Stevenson, 18 points on my bench.
Yes.
He had 80 yards catching, 5 receptions, ran the ball, got double the carries as Trayvon. So I'm just wondering, am I about to play this game where I'm playing Ramondre next week? Like, based on usage, I should just play Ramondre next week. Do you think it's too soon for everybody to go, oh, no, they're not going back to Ramondre? Or do you think that he's the workhorse who's been there for years and they rely on him in situations and he's just the guy that, old faithful, so to speak?
That's tough. I think Henderson's better. He's a better talent. He's going to take it over time, but it could be they might want to run a 2-back set, and Stevenson isn't super. He did have a good game. That's tough, and I think that's going to keep you from being in first place at the end of this week, right? You'll be looking up to me.
Not after I trade him to Steve for Ladd McConkey and never have to deal with this again.
Okay,
hey, Steve,
well,
I'll give you Patrick Mahomes and Trayvon Henderson for Ladd McConkey. I feel like it might get the deal done. We'll see.
He may.
Moving over to the impossible parlay. Parsi, you have a plus 760 parlay. Baker over 15.5 rushing yards. CJ Stroud over 15.5 rushing yards. K-Dot 2 catches. Egbuka 4 catches. Bucky Irving 2 catches. And Nico over 50 yards. This is a Monday night massacre. You really think this is going to hit? Because I think based on what you did last week on the Commanders game, this is psychotic.
So I think both these teams are going to apply a lot of pressure to the quarterbacks. It's going to present some opportunities to scramble. Both of these quarterbacks are mobile. I think Stroud had like 32 rushing yards last week. Baker might have had 35. It only takes one or two plays to cover that. Cade Otton got 0 catches last week. Last time he played against the Texans, I think he had 2 touchdowns, several catches. I think they're looking to get him involved again. I love Mike Evans too. I don't want to make this too. I do want it to be somewhat possible for the followers here. Egbuka looked great. He's their slot receiver. Last week, Jacoby Myers did very well against the Texans. Last week it was Rams Texans, not Jacoby. Devontae did well. Puka did well. So Egbuka's going to get 4. Bucky Irving, I think they're going to dump off him twice again. I'm anticipating a lot of pressure from both of these defenses on the quarterbacks. That's going to mean quick dump offs, dumping off to Otton, dumping off to Bucky Irving. I told you Nico Collins is going to have a big game. And then I just think Egbuka, he had 4 catches last week. He's a big talent there. Mike Evans is going to get a lot of attention. I think they're going to keep working Egbuka into their lineup or into their strategy. And so I'm putting $50 on this one. Nothing crazy, but 50 to win 350, 400.
Listen, I mean, everybody needs a little action on Monday Night Football, right? And it's fair. We try to create these things. And listen, I like the way that you're adding these kind of like low level catches into your parlays, because when you think about it, you're like, for a guy to get 2 catches, like what are we talking about? If Baker's throwing on any given night, he could have 20 completions easy. For Bucky Irving should have 2 catches, no problem.
Yes.
Egbuka 4, like Otton 2. These don't really seem that much, or these don't seem like that much of a stretch for these things to happen. But again, any given Sunday, any given Monday, that's why what I do is I just hammer the Chargers -3 and screw all of this stuff. All right, put the house on it. Be steadfast in what you believe, and what I believe is that Pete Carroll has an old Geno Smith. He's got a good defense. Genty is a question mark. Jacoby Myers, pretty solid receiver, but I would say the receiving core as a whole, question mark. Brock Bowers, stud, but got hurt last week. Is he healthy? We don't know. You got to play the Chargers. Harbaugh is no joke, okay? He's no joke. He always puts a winning team together. He brought Colin Kaepernick to the Super Bowl, right? Now he has Justin Herbert. I thought they were going to come out and run the ball like crazy. I still believe he's going to get back to that, and that's why I don't hate your Hampton picks. But I also love the under. I also love the under here because I think this could be one of those games where they get back to it. We talked about this last week. Divisional matchups, Chargers-Raiders. Last week we were talking about Cowboys and the Giants, and the game started as what we talked about. Grind-out game. They weren't scoring points. It was field goal, and then the game just exploded, and it was like trading touchdown for touchdown at the end. And I guarantee you the next Giants-Cowboys game goes under, right? I'm saying it now because that spark didn't happen till late. So again, now the question is Chargers versus Raiders. What's the game flow going to be like? Is it going to be like Herbert's throwing tutties and Geno Smith's matching them? Or is it going to be standardized old Pete Carroll, Harbaugh, grind out football? And that's kind of what I see. You saw the Raiders beat the Patriots last week. I don't think the over hit in that game. I know it was 20-13 at one point. Maybe the Raiders scored one more touchdown.
That was the final.
But I think the under hit on that one. The Chargers, again, like I don't see them coming out and throwing the way they did against the Chiefs. They are indoors. It's in Vegas. By the way, I might fly to the game tonight, Parsi. I might get on a plane and fly to that game. So what I really like, though, is I love Keenan Allen anytime touchdown every single week. I'm going to like this for the Chargers only because that is Herbert's greatest chemistry weapon, right? And I think that because they have McConkey and now they have Quentin Johnston, who just broke out last week and actually can catch, Old faithful Keenan just lingering around in the background. He's got the most chemistry with Herbert. Love Keenan Allen. Bucky Irving, anytime touchdown. Listen, Bucky's a threat in the air. He's a threat on the ground. He's playing the Texans. The Texans do not look good, all right? They're supposed to have an elite defense. I don't know if you think their defense is good, Parse, but it doesn't seem to be good when you look at the points scored against them every single week. And then, listen, man, Mike Evans, no score last week. That's not going to happen every week. You're not going to see Igbuka catching every touchdown. Mike Evans has had 1,000 yards every season, 10, 11, whatever, 12 straight years. He set the record. So, and the other thing is, I'm fading Herbert's under on passing yards. I think that Herbert threw for so many yards last week. People are going to get excited. They're going to think, oh my God, Herbert's back. He's going to throw the ball. The Chargers are a new team. They're not a new team. They're going to run the ball to Hampton. Like, they're not just going to let Herbert loose. I don't believe it. And I think they're going to, or Vegas rather, is going to set the yards high intentionally, knowing that the mass is stupid, and that's what's going to happen. So shred whatever take you want, Parsi. What do you think about, we'll start with Chargers -3 and the under.
I do like the Chargers -3. The under, I'm a believer in the Chargers offense, and I think Harbaugh wants to get Herbert going.
I think the under's stupid. Is that what you think? Just
What'd
say
you
it.
say?
Just say it.
I think that Herbert is. I'm going to take the over on Herbert. I might be one of those stupid people, but he's a stud. This is a serious team. They are a good team. They beat Kansas City last week, and I think he's going to have a big game. I think they will move it through Hampton. I do see what you're saying with Keenan Allen. I kind of like that. It's probably like a plus 250-ish payout. Mike Evans, he let me down last week. I'm a little bit butthurt on that. But I think you know what? I would challenge you on Bucky Irving, though. I think he's a stud, but this is a stingy Texans defense. They're good against the run. I think that Baker's going to have to score through the air, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of field goals in this game as well. Maybe I would take the under of the Texans Bucks game. You seem to think the Bucks are a big, high-powered offense.
I don't know, man. I love to take the over of every game, but Keenan Allen anytime touchdown. You riding or no, Parse?
No, I'm going to pass.
What face is that?
I'm going to pass on that.
Bucky Irving anytime touchdown.
Pass.
Ew. Mike Evans?
Pass.
You don't think any of those three guys are going to score? Are you kidding me?
Mike Evans.
You're disgusting. Okay. Herbert under passing yards.
Over.
Over?
Yes.
Over how?
He has a lot of weapons. I think they're going to move the ball well. I think that's going to be a good game. I think teams are going to be able to score. I'll take the over and
well, tell us in the comments who you think is right here, because Parsi doesn't think Keenan Allen, Bucky Irving, or Mike Evans is going to score. I think he's out of his freaking mind. He's got Cade Otton at 2 catches. This man had to put up a big goose egg. I know, because I started him in 1 league. Are you kidding me? 0 points from Cade Otton? Cade Otton last year was like a target favorite from Baker Mayfield, all right? And you don't catch one ball? 1 ball for 5 yards? It's unbelievable to me how fantasy works. I mean, listen, look at Derrick Henry yesterday, too.
Right.
Right? They have the 1st and goal at the 1, and they don't run it to him once. You have Derrick Henry, and you don't run the ball from the goal, and then you get a penalty, and then you're at the 5, and it's so stupid.
The Vikings looked horrible, too. I had Jordan Mason first touchdown score plus, I think it was plus 800, and they had it 1st and goal on the 1, and then JJ McCarthy tripped up and, fake passed it to himself and fake pitched, fumbled, and they shot themselves in the foot with that. He did not look very strong.
No, absolutely not. And listen, I'm a firm believer in looking at lines right before the game or even a couple hours before the game. And if you're seeing something that is close to even money, so plus 100, minus 102, minus 104, right? So yesterday, an hour before the game, I'm looking at this, and I don't know who's going to win between the Falcons and the Vikings. They're both frauds. Like, I don't know if Penix is for real or JJ. Not to say they're both frauds. I just don't think anybody really knows who they are yet, right? We need more of a sample size than what we've seen. And I'm just analyzing the lines, and I'm looking at the money, and when I see something close to plus 100, so what I saw was minus 102, Vikings minus 3.5 at home. A home team is minus 3.5 at even money. Like, that doesn't add up to me, right? So that's kind of a tell for me as to if I want a little action last minute, who I'm going with. So I don't like to go with my heart or like to go with, hey, I like Penix or I like McCarthy or I like Bijan or I need this guy to score. I've bet that way, and trust me, it doesn't end up well for me, Parse. It doesn't end up well. So I don't know if you feel like you can actually use the numbers and the math when putting in plays and going, this line is too easy. I don't like it. I'm going to bet the other way.
Sure. I think there's definitely some opportunity for bettors there and recognizing those trends.
And just to do this right now, I'm gonna whip open a little book real quick. Let me see. I have. Hold on. We're gonna whip open this book real quick, and we're gonna do this together and see if there's any interesting lines. Right. So I have. Right now, as we stand, it's 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. The Buccaneers are plus 2.5. The Texans are minus 2.5. The Texans are minus 115, and the Bucs are minus 105. Minus 105, minus 115, nothing's really speaking to me there. Like, I'm not seeing that like die-hard favorite to go. They want, and then the over-under set at 42.5 with a minus 115 on the over and a minus 105 on the under. So again, I'm not seeing anything there that's like, oh, you got to take this. Now we're going to go to the Chargers-Raiders game and see if there's any example. Chargers minus 3.5, Raiders plus 3.5, minus 110 equal. Yeah, and then they got the over-under set at 46.5. So listen, there's no line there that's really speaking to me. I like when I see a minus 115, minus 120, minus 125. Vegas is trying to get people off of that bet, obviously. That's why they're increasing that. And when I see that, that's kind of like, I think that's what I want to take. So Chargers minus 3 tonight is my lock. I'm not a believer in Geno Smith.
It's minus 3.5 now. Does that change anything?
Probably buying a half point, not leaving that up for the
yeah,
day. And also that means that people are betting on the Raiders at home, right?
No, that means that people are betting on the Chargers. So
people are betting on the Chargers. They're getting worse odds. You're right. Sorry. So I mixed that up. Chargers, the money's going on the Chargers. Like I said, minus 3 was too easy. Now it's become 3.5, the hook. This could definitely be a 3-point game, though, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money by half a point. But if it is not a 3-point game, my best estimate is the Chargers rout by 2 touchdowns, because I think that what they did to the Chiefs last week was pretty impressive. You saw the Chiefs defense, by the way, hold Jalen Hurts to 100 yards, right? And kind of like dominate the Eagles in terms of not letting them score as many points as you think the Eagles would score. Defense performed very well. They lost their 2 receivers, the Chiefs. They can't move the ball. Kelsey's dropping balls when he's like, supposed to be bad. He's supposed to be all faithful. So for the Chargers to walk all over the Chiefs defense, I don't know. Do you feel like the Raiders defense is better or superior to the Chiefs?
No.
So that's all you need to know. Herbert's indoors again. I think that this is Herbert's game to win by 2 touchdowns. I like the minus 3.5. That is it for us here at the Cookbook today. Good luck to everybody on your bets tonight. Please remember, we will be launching another episode on Thursday for Thursday Night Football. If you want to watch Parcel and I cover the doo-doo Miami Dolphins are playing The Buffalo Bills. So this is going to be one of the wackest games ever. And also, if you saw the slate of Thursday Night Football this year, Parsi, it's absolutely disgusting. I'll throw it up Thursday night so you can take a look and
We
vomit.
should just bet the under every Thursday.
Just bet the under every Thursday night. Bet a boring-ass game, and that's what we're going to get a lot of. And then, guys, again, please make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Dappz Sports. Like this post. Comment underneath every single video. We do giveaways, so don't sleep on the giveaways. We pick a random comment every single week. And join us on Dappz Live on TikTok every single day, 12 p.m. All right, I am Dappz. That is Parcel. We will see you on Thursday.